Apollo 1. Before astronauts ever walked on the moon, 3 men died trapped inside a spacecraft that never even left Earth. During a normal launch rehearsal in 1967, the Apollo 1 crew sat inside their capsule running simple tests. Nothing seemed dangerous, but the cabin was filled with pure oxygen, and inside that environment, even a tiny spark becomes a monster. Suddenly, a fire exploded through the capsule walls. Within seconds, the entire spacecraft turned into an oven. The astronauts tried opening the hatch, but NASA designed it to open inward, and the pressure inside made it impossible to move. They were trapped alive inside a burning metal coffin. Rescue crews outside could hear screaming through the communication system, but the flames spread too fast. In less than a minute, all 3 astronauts were dead from smoke and extreme heat. The horrifying part is that this disaster happened before launch, while still connected to Earth. NASA later admitted the spacecraft design had serious flaws everywhere: wiring, materials, escape systems, even basic safety planning. The tragedy delayed the moon mission, but it also forced NASA to rebuild the entire Apollo program from the ground up. The first steps on the moon were only possible because 3 astronauts died, showing NASA what failure looked like first. Vladimir Komarov. Imagine climbing into a spacecraft while already knowing it probably won't bring you back alive. That was Vladimir Komarov in 1967. Soviet engineers reportedly discovered serious problems with Soyuz 1 before launch. Systems were failing during testing, parachute problems were feared, and many people believed the mission should be canceled. But political pressure was stronger than safety. Komarov launched anyway. Almost immediately, things started going wrong in orbit. Solar panels failed. Navigation systems broke. The spacecraft became difficult to control. He was fighting the capsule every second just to stay alive. Soviet ground control desperately tried bringing him home early, but during re-entry, the worst fear became real. The main parachute failed to deploy correctly. The backup parachute tangled into it. The capsule slammed into Earth at terrifying speed and exploded on impact. Reports say investigators could barely recognize the remains. What makes this death so disturbing is the feeling that it was preventable from the beginning. Komarov wasn't defeated by space itself. He was defeated by politics, pressure, and a system that ignored warnings. His death became one of the darkest moments of the space race because everyone involved knew the mission was dangerous long before launch day ever arrived. Soyuz 11. 3 astronauts were only minutes away from becoming heroes. The mission was successful. The cameras were waiting. The Soviet Union was ready to celebrate. But inside the capsule, something invisible had already started killing them. A tiny pressure valve suddenly opened during re-entry, and within seconds, the cabin began losing oxygen. There was no explosion, no fire, no warning loud enough to save them. The crew tried to close the leak manually, but space moves faster than panic. Their bodies slowly shut down while the capsule kept falling perfectly toward Earth like nothing was wrong. And that's the terrifying part. From the outside, everything looked normal. Recovery teams opened the capsule expecting smiles, but instead found all 3 astronauts dead in their seats. Their faces were dark blue. Blood had leaked from their noses and ears because of the pressure loss. This became the only human deaths that actually happened in space itself, above Earth's atmosphere. After the accident, space agencies completely redesigned pressure suit rules because one tiny valve changed everything forever. Space is horrifying because sometimes you don't even realize you're dying until your body already knows. Challenger. Millions of people were watching when Challenger launched in 1986. Schools turned on televisions because one of the crew members was a teacher heading to space. It was supposed to inspire an entire generation. Instead, the world watched 7 astronauts die live on camera. Just 73 seconds after launch, the shuttle suddenly exploded apart in the sky. At first, many viewers didn't even understand what happened. The smoke trails looked unreal, almost beautiful, until the truth became clear. A rubber O-ring inside one booster failed because of the freezing morning temperature. Hot gases escaped, tore into the fuel tank, and destroyed the shuttle in seconds. The crew cabin separated and continued flying upward before falling back toward the ocean. Investigators later found evidence suggesting some astronauts may have survived the initial breakup for a short time during the fall. That detail still haunts people today. The disaster shocked the entire world because it happened during a moment that was supposed to represent hope and progress. Challenger became proof that even the most advanced technology on Earth can still fail from something as small as a damaged rubber seal. Columbia. The damage nobody took seriously. The terrifying thing about the Columbia disaster is that NASA actually saw the problem happen and still believed the crew would survive. In 2003, during launch, a piece of foam insulation broke off the fuel tank and slammed directly into the shuttle's wing. Engineers on the ground became worried immediately because even small damage in space can become deadly during re-entry. Some people inside NASA even requested military satellite images to inspect the shuttle properly, but the danger was slowly dismissed. Officials convinced themselves the damage probably wasn't serious enough to matter. Meanwhile, the 7 astronauts on board had no idea their spacecraft was already doomed. For 16 days, they worked normally in orbit, running experiments, recording videos, smiling for cameras, completely unaware that a hole in the wing was waiting to kill them on the trip home. Then, re-entry began. As Columbia hit the atmosphere, superheated plasma entered the damaged wing like a blowtorch. Sensors suddenly started failing one by one. Temperatures inside the wing rose uncontrollably. Ground control noticed strange readings, but by then it was already too late. The shuttle began breaking apart over Texas at hypersonic speed. Debris scattered across hundreds of miles while millions watched the disaster unfold live on television again. All 7 astronauts died within moments. What makes Columbia horrifying is not just the accident itself, but the fact that warning signs existed from the very beginning. The crew survived space perfectly, only to die because a small piece of foam was underestimated. After the disaster, investigators concluded that the real failure wasn't only technical. It was also human confidence, ignored concerns, and the dangerous belief that nothing could go wrong twice.